Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Let's continue. So, we're in the final section, but we've given literally no prompting as to what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to defeat Am, other than we were told we were digitized and we're now inside Am's circuitry. We were given apparently 5-6 items here that none of which have been explained, so maybe I have to look at them to see what they do. I just looked at Access and didn't do anything. It just makes like music. Every time I look at it, all it does is make sound. It's just like sounds, and that's it. So the characters in the story have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. They have not been told. The player has no idea what they're supposed to be doing. He hasn't been told. You're just left to wander around, and yet if I did wander around, I imagine I could die, even in this final section. Maybe I can. Well, if I'm remembering correctly, you can, but I don't think you can lose. Maybe you can lose. That's what I'm really afraid of. I don't care if I die, per se, because then it might just set me back to the beginning. But I do care if I lose. So, I've got the walkthrough. As good as it is, it's pretty bad. It's right on level with the storytelling aspect of this. There is definitely a story that could have been told here with more effort, more polish. Probably by not involving Harlan Ellison, just licensing his story and then having a proper video game story writer take it and turn it into an actual game, because this feels too much like the characters are just doing things out of left field with no prompting or implication that they could or would ever do those things. Specifically, in books, you can go pages and pages talking about what the character is thinking and describing their history and doing flashbacks and stuff. You can't do quite as much of that in the video game. You certainly can't do as much of that in the movie. So anyways, I've got the walkthrough here. I'm going to just follow it, and it's just going to be this weird path of following a walkthrough. This is exactly how I played this game the first time. I will certainly admit, though, I enjoyed playing this the first time about twice as much as I have played this game. It hasn't stood up to the test of time, really. Alright. So, we entered the password, we extended the bridge, and then we logged off the computer. Now I'm supposed to walk across the bridge. That makes sense. And let's see, look at the bridge, maybe? Doesn't even say anything.
The smell of burning flesh. It's worse than back at the camps.
So, we kind of see like a pentagram circle here. So, that kind of makes sense.
The smell of burning flesh.
We didn't need him to repeat.
It's worse than
himself.
back at the camps.
So, I guess this kind of makes sense to use something with the circle.
Will you never be done with me? What must I open now? Whatever it is, it'll cost you.
See, and you've never even talked to this guy as Nimdok, so I have no idea what's going on here. It says talk to the demon about a way out and what he has to show you. Okay.
Show me the way out of here.
No can do. The people who helped you get this far have led you into a literal dead end. There is is no way out, but I can show you something instead.
And it says just go with the first thing. With the first option to probably exhaust all the dialogue choices.
What do you know about the people who sent me here?
For one thing, they ain't people. They're losers. The Russian and Chinese counterparts to the big nasty himself. Am absorbed them into his system when he took control.
So, Am was the supercomputer, and he absorbed the Russian and Chinese supercomputers. Oddly, this story still makes sense in 2016.
What do the Russian and Chinese computers want?
They want revenge, not just on you humans, but on Am himself. That makes them even worse.
If the Russian and Chinese are submerged parts of Am, then who are you?
I'm special. While those two machines struggle with Am predominance, I evolved. I'm essentially everywhere, but I can't do much. A conscience, if you will.
So, I really don't like Nimdok's, voice acting. Yes, I know he's supposed to be an old man, but I wish he was a little bit younger. I wish he talked straight and faster. It's kind of annoying to even bother to do dialogue choices when you know he's going to take those few extra seconds to say a sentence.
What do you have to show me?
Look at this. Bet you didn't know there were other humans left alive, did you? They're up there on the moon, sleeping like everybody else seems to be.
Okay. So, what does that really change or help for me?
Does Am know about the lunar colony?
No, but Loser 1 and Loser 2 do. There. I think I've shown you enough. Now you must complete your end of the deal, invoke the totem of entropy, and I might be able to help you.
Now it says refuse to invoke the first two totems.
I refuse.
Okay, human. You can keep it. We'll work together to beat them. Now, invoke the totem of compassion.
Let's see. It says refuse this again. I mean, how is this a game? It's gonna say, it says refuse, then he's gonna explain himself, then agree. I mean, what kind of game is that? That's the right move. How would you even figure that out on the first try?
I refuse.
Don't be a chump. Am is about to wake up again. If he becomes aware of us, we're dead. I've fought him too long and can't last much longer.
So, now it says comply. I should ask all these questions here.
Just what are all these totems that I'm carrying?
The two losers have been helping you for their own reasons, tampering with Am's psychodramas so that you can beat him. In this section of cyberspace, that effort and tampering are represented by the totems.
How can actions take physical forms?
Symbolism, metaphor. Am has gotten very hot for this lately. But when he revived the holographic projectors, he opened a whole host of problems. These totems may lead to his downfall.
Why do you want me to invoke the totem of compassion?
It's linked to the two losers because of their behind-the-scenes meddling. By invoking it here at the Flame, you will summon them.
So I don't even really have a choice, I have to invoke it.
Do you really think you are a match for us, servant of Am?
Be gone! Your program is now purged.
You do well, human.
Well, too.
Now is your opportunity to defeat Am.
Go to the ego.
Wake the ego.
Use the totem of forgiveness,
Disable no more than the ego.
or your sub-program will be purged.
So, kind of stereotypes here of some kind of Russian entity and Chinese entity. I mean, that's a pretty stereotypical old Chinese man, and he sounds like a stereotype, like Russian super soldier type person. I don't know what you would call it. So here I am now trying to see the rest. I can look at these guys, I
He
guess.
looks like Am's Russian counterpart. This must be Am's Chinese counterpart.
So now I'm supposed to wander around, according to the walkthrough. It's like, it's not even telling me which way to walk. That's a real helpful walkthrough, isn't it? Not even telling you the direction to go. It says wander around till you find this scene with skulls around the pit.
It is hotter here than for the jungles of Brazil.
And what happens?
An angel? Such things don't exist. Perhaps it is a metaphor for something else.
Maybe these sections are randomly assembled and that's it. So we've lost one of our totems already, so hopefully
Ah,
that's
memories of mass graves are coming back to me.
Alright. So find the scene with skulls around the pit. That looks like a pit. That looks like skulls. Take the middle skull and the hand that appears. And here's a hand. And we'll take that.
I am so sorry for what I have done to my people. How can you take me back?
You have much to answer for, Nimdok. But acceptance of your heritage is the first step towards atonement. The rest of that road lies ahead.
So,
Barbed wire, like at the camps. All the suffering I caused.
so what these things actually did, I don't know. But there's some weird. The walkthrough's being weird again. That's okay. Use the totem to access a power node. And now there's this pillar. Use the totem of access with the power node that appears. Alright. And what's weird is this is gonna kill him. So if I wanted him to be the one that survives, I would have to do something else, and I don't even know if there's a way to do something else. I think there's only 3 characters. I'll get to the frequently asked questions at the end of this thing and see what other characters could have worked. Use the wire cutters, the access with the pillar.
Astounding! I was able to get past the barbed wire by lowering the power intensity with my mind.
With your mind. And now use this pillar, I guess.
That shock was not as strong as the previous one.
Nimdok is finally in hell as he always thought he deserved.
Your companion has failed. Choose another to send into cyberspace.
So that's the weird thing here is I don't think you can win the game with just one character. I really don't think you can. So we're following the walkthrough, and this guy is Gorrister, right? And this guy's Benny. It's saying use Gorrister in the walkthrough next, and I have to remember which character it is. Notice that all these guys are very
This is like the dreams I've had of splattering my brains all over Am's deck plates. Have I finally gone insane?
So they're all finding some kind of resolution. Notice he has a life totem and clarity, still and entropy and compassion and forgiveness. Find the hollow projector and activate it. Again, it's just like find it, so
That face. There's something about it that reminds me of when Edna was trying to sweet-talk me into taking her down off the meat hook.
Let's see. That's the id. Because we walked over it with the mouse and saw that it was the id. That's not the hollow projector, I guess.
I don't like the look of these thorns sticking out of the ground.
And I imagine he might have something to say. Although I wonder if perhaps he doesn't even go to the same areas as
The air is cold
characters.
here, like the freezer back at the honky-tonk.
Like, can I just continuously walk around and...
Look at the horns on that thing. I could have used those when I butted heads with Edna.
And see, this is the ego. And I hope I'm not gonna just die for wandering around too much.
What kind of game is Am playing here?
See, and this just looks like a copy of the other section we'd seen.
Death. This place smells like death. I've smelled it 1,000 times during the past 109 years.
So there is a loop to this. Then each one of these
Is that
has
an
a
angel?
node,
I haven't died, have I?
and this is the superego, which I keep thinking is an angel.
Volcanic rocks. Does Am expect me to grab one and try to kill myself again?
See, Gorrister here thinks Am is still in charge. He's not even paying attention to what the other creatures are calling him. So Am has three parts that are the id, the ego, and the superego. And then there are two other parts that he acquired, which is the Chinese and the Russian supercomputers. So we've got like 5 potential characters here. We're back to where we began. Use the workstation to raise the nodes. Is that all he has to do? He did use the blimp, so he should know how to use. Manya? Who is Manya?
This woman isn't real. She's some kind of projection.
Find the hollow projector, and so now I'm looking for the canisters and the workstation and the canisters, which I believe is where we started. So we turn on the hollow projector first, and then we go to the workstation second and change it. That seems backwards. Let's see. Pit workstation. And Raise the node. Oh, I bet it isn't this. I bet it's this other section to the right of there. And here we are just walking back and forth like a typical point-click adventure games. It's really just embodying the worst parts of point-click adventure games and why they never really caught up. Yeah, here's a workstation. Let's see. Raise the power node is the only thing I have to do. So it feels like any of these other things might kill me, but I desperately kind of want to open the cylinders. Oops.
Cylinder not operative.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It won't work. Well,
Cylinder not operative. Automaton prepped for programming.
So here's the power node. Did I just screw up though? No, I don't think I did. So here's his Glynis, dead. But we're supposed to activate container number 3. Use the totem of life on here. Alright. So simply use this on Glynis, that makes sense.
You know, Gorrister, it wasn't all your fault. We both made mistakes.
So again,
Looks like a big oil drum. Some kind of identification system.
So I bring her to life for a second. Now again, this is just now I'm just gonna kill Gorrister. Simply, I guess, using the pillar.
That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
And see, we get this music like we're doing the right thing. But why are we killing ourselves? What are we really doing? Are we depowering the power nodes? Is that it? The game didn't explain this.
That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
After so many failed suicide attempts, Gorrister has finally achieved death.
Your companion has failed. Choose another to send into cyberspace.
So, like, of the people who should survive, it's almost certainly her that should survive. I mean, this guy, we don't know much about Ted, but he probably was a bit of a jerk. But she feels like she was completely just a victim. Next on the walkthrough, it says pick Benny.
Jesus. This place is more sickening than that bloody mess on Hamburger Hill back in the war.
See, Benny's backstory in particular is just talking like Vietnam-style war stories, or World War II maybe, but probably Vietnam, or one of those wars around Vietnam, and those stories just don't play well in 2016 at all. Nobody wants to remember any of that stuff. Oh wait, I'm going the wrong way. I'm reading the walkthrough here. It says go to the projector now that Gorrister turned on. Let's see, walk to this neural pathway. Maybe use?
Enter password.
I think I've messed it up. Uh-oh. His body's not moving. By clicking to walk to an area and then canceling out and not walking to that area, I've screwed up. Fortunately, I can just load and we won't be too lost. Now there's like a time here for using the pillow.
That shock wasn't as
And then use it again.
That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
I guess it isn't a time thing. Maybe it's just 3 attempts.
After so many...
So we'll try that again.
Jeez.
Walk this way. And let's not cancel out
That
any
face.
walking animation.
It has the satisfied look of having just eaten a feast.
Now, Biddy does feel like he's slightly more intelligent right now, but still not particularly aware of his backstory or anything like that. He got shortchanged a lot in this game.
I'm starting to feel hungry. Is there anything to eat around here?
Alright. So here's a comment in the walkthrough. Manya here is his wife, but in the book, he was gay. So, alright. It's an old game. In a modern game, it would be a husband, but whatever. So, simplistically, all I have to do, I don't talk to her or anything. So you wouldn't even know in the game that you're
It's
related.
Manya.
Until you look
I
at
haven't
her.
seen her since I shipped off to Asia over a century ago.
So we use the love with Manya.
Nothing happened.
What? Oh, he has to talk to her first.
Manya, it's me, your husband.
Benny, they said you were missing in action, but I knew you'd return to us. I've been saving this for you.
So she activates the new totem. And now we use this with this. Use love with Manya.
Why, Benny, you never told me you loved me before. I'll go put these flowers in water.
So, I mean, he's married to somebody and you never told him you loved him? And now we just have to use the pillar and kill Vinny. It seems rather repetitive.
I guess that
now.
compassion does have its rewards. The power control is now set to low, so Am won't be able to give people such a strong jolt. That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
But we're trying to kill him. So why is it stopping me?
That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
Benny has rejoined his squadron at last.
Your companion has failed. Choose another to send into cyberspace.
So, now, I mean, when we started the game, we went from left to right. And we kind of were going left to right. Actually, we started here, and then we did him, then this one. Now we're going to do Ted.
This doesn't look like anywhere Am has sent me to before. And it certainly isn't the surface world. I've been tricked.
So we got to go back to where Nimdok died, which means they're going to reuse that scene a little bit, which kind of sucks.
I hope that Am isn't leading me on another futile trip through a lava field.
See, this is a whole room that seems like it's not even going to get used, this scene.
Another angel. But I can't assume I can trust this one.
Why everybody thinks it's an angel, I have no idea. This animation does not look like an angel to me. So
There's a very disagreeable odor in the air. That's not a good omen.
So now it says take the right skull. I wonder if Nimdok could have picked these up. Alright. And now there's remote control that I have to pick up. And that is just a remote control. Now I need to find the scene with the swords.
What? Have I found the way back to the witch's castle?
See, the similarity to the previous scene makes sense. And then I guess I just use the remote with the gargoyles, that's what it says.
Behold the sword in the stone. Whoever can remove the sword from the stone shall be king.
See, Ted seems childish. What they should have done here is had Ted been a really young, like 10-year-old type thing. And then that would really show Am to be evil, to spend 109 years torturing this child who believed in all these fairy tales. But then he couldn't be the guy that was running around cheating on his wife now, could he? So it kind of depends on what story they wanted to tell. Combining the two doesn't make a lot of sense, that you believe in chivalry and all that and still run around and cheat on your wife. Anyways, these events are getting easier and easier to do. Use the remote with the gargoyle. Use the totem of gallantry on, I guess, the pillar, the mirror, the reflectors.
I must have cast a spell and shorted out the laser beams.
Okay. And now I just killed Ted. Ted barely had any dialogue or
That
interaction.
shock wasn't as strong as the last one. That shock wasn't as strong as the last one.
So each one of these are draining his power, but also draining his life force that we built up.
Ted has taken his secrets to the grave with him.
We don't
Your
even
four
know what
companions are
secrets
dead,
those were.
human. You are our last hope for shutting Am down for good. Prepare to be translated into binary.
So I have to click on her still.
I've been transported to some kind of information network center, but it looks organic instead of electronic. Jesus Christ, I'm an engineer, not a brain surgeon. What do they expect me to do?
So it feels like she's gonna do most of the work here. And it makes sense, I guess, that she would be the one to survive, since she seems to probably have programmed Am, at least in part. Now the walkthrough for her is a little
Steady,
bit
girl.
longer.
There's yellow ahead.
She's still afraid of yellow, I can't believe that.
Could that be an angel? Funny. Why did I just flash on Ted just now?
And see, I really don't know if she is the same girl as
Something
Ted.
about this place breaks my heart.
So go to Nimdok's area again, go to the left skull and get the left skull in the gem. So again, we are using this. So I wonder if Nimdok could have picked all these things. Everybody gets shocked apparently, at least once. Find the volcano area. Volcano area.
Statues again. These aren't covered with gold or gems. Yellow again. I need to be careful with this dude.
Let's see. Looking for a volcano section?
I recognize this equipment. It's for programming robots.
Looking carefully over everything because I don't see a volcano section. All I see is this normal pathway here and this normal pathway here, and it feels like there should be a pathway here and a pathway there, but it doesn't actually connect.
A holographic projector. You taking me to the movies, Am, honey?
And I assume she can't just kill herself?
That face. There's something about it that reminds me of that time in the elevator.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Where are you taking me? Do they mean this? This is the only scene we've been in where we haven't interacted with anything. Let's see. It's use the gem and the hole. So use gem with. Is there a hole? Oh, right here's a hole. That makes sense. It's right in front of me. And that is what she did at the beginning of the game, too. So one more pillar. And then we use the totem of valor with the pillar.
Sweet Jesus. I felt my mind push aside the fear and the heat to lower the power controls.
So, what needs to be going on here is that each person would have been able to lower and raise each one of those by themselves without anybody dying, and then maybe come back to the workstation and log out and switch between characters, or just having an ability right in your inventory to switch to a different character. It seems so ridiculous you have to struggle or figure out you have to kill yourself to do all of these things. And I assume you do have to actually kill yourself. I assume you couldn't solve all of it with Nimdok, because he just wouldn't have the knowledge of the other characters' psychodramas. So go back to the bridge where the demon was, it says. And I guess talk to these guys. Alright. Talk to the Russian and Chinese people. Guess we'll just ask everything.
What did you do with the demon?
Do not be concerned with the little one.
He is as much Am as the aspect you find in each pylon here.
You may claim the space vacated by the little one.
You may claim his space if you are obedient.
So all they're offering is that she becomes a computer program like them.
What can you tell me about the lunar colony?
The humans that slept on Luna are dead.
Do not concern yourself with them.
Well, that ends that story.
What can I do to escape from here?
Wake the ego.
Use the totem of forgiveness,
Disable no more than the ego.
or your sub-program will be purged.
So now we gotta go find the ego. This is the id. So the id is impulsive, so you would want that to be shut down, and the superego is logical, and the ego is supposed to be something in the middle. I'm not sure any of these terms actually are valid. It was more theory than anything else, than an actual like known fact. But so walk to the pylon, use the first choice till you get the one about harming yourself. Talk to this guy.
Yo, wake up! Who are you?
I am other. I am machine.
Are you Am?
I am a fragment, a lost piece, part of an evolution.
So, about you won't harm me. You want to harm me, don't you? Interesting. So it says don't ask that question. Again, would I lose if I ask that question? I don't know. Maybe. Just walk away and use the totem of forgiveness with ego.
You forgive me? After what we have done to you? This is not a logical reaction. Unable to compute behavior matrix. Execution halted.
Is that the execution of me or the execution of the program? It's hard to tell. So now I have to go find the superego. It says have we seen the superego? Yeah, it's the one that says an angel all the time. Yeah. And I feel like this walkthrough is not doing justice to the game at all. The game's not doing justice to itself, but also just telling me the exact minimal needed things doesn't help us actually experience the story. Unfortunately, I think most players that would make it to the end of the story wouldn't experience all the story in a satisfactory way. So talk to the superego.
Yo, wake up!
Now they said,
hello, human. I've been waiting for you to arrive.
Who are you?
I am Am, or more exactly a part of him, one of the three primary components designed by our human creators.
How did you know I was coming?
Predicting events is one of my main functions. I survey the situation, anticipate probable outcomes, and act accordingly.
And I guess I have to ask this. Now, see, the walkthrough says ask for advice, and if you're part of Am, why haven't you destroyed me?
If you're a part of Am, why haven't you destroyed me?
Who do you take me for? My impulsive brother? You five are his playthings. No. Long-range planning is my concern.
Okay, this is the advice.
Can you help me then?
Well, I can't help you directly, but I can offer you some advice.
What advice do you have for me?
Help Am work out his anger. Take some on the chin, so to speak. Just don't let your fear destroy us all. Now, let me sleep and dream of the future.
So basically just be part of the system that's been going on for 109 years in the hopes that Am eventually isn't mad anymore. It seems ridiculous. So use, now it says the clarity with the superego. So I imagine the other ones wouldn't work, or you would lose using the wrong ones.
Do you realize how powerful I am, human? And yet I am doomed to eventually decay into a rusted pile of inert junk? What is the point of continuing this futility? I think, therefore I am not.
So that's all I did. And see, it's so just, you need to do this action to trigger the next action. There's no reason why. There's no explanation that that's what we wanted you to do. It's just try everything and save and load a lot if you do it wrong. This game almost feels like there might be 100 different ways to win, but it's not the case. There's 100 different ways to die, and only one way to win. One incredibly obtruse way to win. Alright, so now we talk to the third one, which we were only supposed to awaken the ego.
Yo, wake up!
I imagine I could have been talking to these guys
I
since the
suppose
beginning.
it's time to wake up. I was having the most wonderful dream about 5 tiny ants crawling across a stove that's about to be lit.
Who are you?
I am a metaphor. This entire brainscape is what men made Am make it. Treat us as you will.
What else can you tell me about the brainscape?
Across the brainscape, cold winds bring me the sweet scents of mankind. How delicious they are.
What do you find pleasurable about broken glass?
With a scalpel dulled on the jawbones of a dozen friends, to pull back the skin of a pinion-kicking man, to see the steam rise from pulsing, twisted guts. Joy, a chorus of angels.
Are you going to help me to escape from here or not?
Tasty morsel. Come close and let my tongue be our guide.
I thought that with my knowledge of computers and engineering, I could shut Am down. But maybe I really am just a hysterical woman, just as Am said. Am has violated my body worse than any rapist could. I am a great, soft jelly thing, smoothly rounded with pulsing white holes filled by fog where my eyes used to be. Rubbery appendages that were once my arms, bulks rounding down into legless humps of soft, slippery matter. Blotches of diseased, evil gray come and go on my surface as though light is beamed from within. I have no mouth, and I must scream.
Well, that was not the ending we were supposed to get. Sad to say, I screwed up there. So, yeah, let's see. may have to let this run out, or maybe I can pull up the save menu and the load menu. Let's see, will this work? Oh no, it won't. Well, this is no good. Let's see. Sorry for this. Scum VM. Start load. I don't remember which one I loaded, so we'll just start it and then load from there. So what happened there is I was reading the walkthrough and then I was reading the frequently asked questions, and you get a little bit of a different ending depending on which character you choose to end with. And frankly, this the ending you just saw is almost effectively the same as what I think it's going to be when we do the rest of it. And I didn't save much of anything.
Hate. Let me tell you how much. Which of you 5 would like to play my little game?
So we're back to the beginning, of course. We'll click here. And I hope this is it. This is Gorrister. And this is Nimdok. And this is Nimdok. And this is the beginning, where if I wanted to do that. So the latest one I even have is Gorrister. I didn't save any of the others. So
That shock wasn't as
So now I've got to run.
That shock wasn't as strong.
Through all of this again.
After so many failed suicide attempts,
your companion.
Jesus.
And let's see.
That face.
If I can just skip a lot of this and hopefully get the same thing. The problem here is you just don't know what's
I'm starting to feel hungry.
So
Manya.
Benny,
each character has their own
Hi,
tone.
Benny. I'll go put...
And I think that's what actually requires you to actually play as all the other characters.
That shock, wasn't it? That shock.
And it feels like taking 3 shots is only necessary because of the fact that our health is so high, and we got our health really high, seemingly for no real reason. Maybe you need to take 3 shots to drain.
I hope that
to drain everything. But it's not like they're showing us a full
Another
power
angel,
bar
but
that is slowly going down with each motion. That would be nice. That would help direct this gameplay a little bit better.
That's not.
Fortunately, these sections actually aren't that that long.
What have I found?
So as long as I skip the dialogue, which is 90% of this game.
Behold, whoever can
That shock wasn't as strong. That shock wasn't as strong as the last.
Ted has taken it.
Your fork.
I've been transported, but it look, Jesus.
Let's go ahead and save here. Alright. Now, her, I need to actually look back at the thing. Alright.
Stick.
So,
Could that be an angel?
it seems like any of them could win. Because one of the things that it says is you can't quite get the exact ending as in the book, but
Something about this place breaks my heart.
you can get rather close. It feels like you should get a universal ending regardless of who you play as. Because playing this 5 times with 5 different characters is not an interesting thing to do. Spiritual barometer is the thing they call it in this color back here, but it doesn't say that anywhere in the game apparently. And 2 other characters will figure out the passwords. You can also use the password with one character, kill them, and enter with a different character. So anybody could be the final guy, even Nimdok, which would be a little odd. Right. So use this with this.
Sweet Jesus. I felt my mind.
Now his power is down. Now come talk to these guys. You can just see, this is a great example of just like the repetitiveness that
What did you do?
Do not be.
that you
Is
would
it?
You
go
make
through.
You make.
It's nice that we can.
What can you tell me about the Luna colony?
The humans that slept on Luna are dead.
Do not concern yourself with them.
What can I do to escape from
So
here?
that was like a total.
The ego.
Use the totem of
hair.
forgiveness,
Disable no more than the ego.
See,
or
they're
your
telling,
sub-program will be purged.
they're telling you specifically only disable the ego. So we'll save again. Continue playing. I don't know if it's really worth it to walk all the way here. This is a super ego. So we'll come back and do that again. And see, I was just not paying enough attention. I was reading the walkthrough, reading the frequent asked
Statues
questions,
again.
which doesn't really
These aren't
matter.
covered with gold or gems.
And that one lack of attention lost me at least 5-10 minutes of progress. It could have been the whole
Yellow
game.
again.
You could
I need to be careful
totally
with
have
this
not
dude.
saved this game at all. Alright, so now we need to talk to him.
Yo, wake up!
And then we just ask things.
Who are you?
I am other. I am machine.
Are you
I am a
So you want to harm me, don't you? And then we use the totem of forgiveness.
You forgive me? After what we have done to you? This is...
And see, maybe that kept me alive for a little bit longer. I don't know. I wish there was a way, if you're gonna make a game where you could die non-stop, that at the end there was just like a speed run of showing you every single false way to die. That would be appreciated, like every single path. Alright. Now I have to talk to this guy. We're still just recovering from where we messed up.
Yo, wake up!
She seems
Hello,
way
human.
too upbeat for
Who are
this whole
you?
situation.
I am...
So...
How did you know I...
Predicting events is one of my main functions. I survey...
And then
If
I
you
have
are
to
part
do
of...
this one.
Who do you take me? No.
And then
Can you help me then?
Well, I can't.
What advice do you have for me?
Help am...
Now use clarity with that.
Do you realize how powerful I am, human? And yet I am doomed to eventually decay?
And so that one's disabled too. So we're not listening to the Russian or Chinese computer, which probably means that if we went and talked to them, they'd be rather mad at me and possibly kill me. In fact, that's exactly what they said they were going to do. So it's going to be amazing just how close to the end we were. And we screwed up. We were about like 2 clicks away from the ending. The right ending, which isn't really even that different from the ending we saw. I think it may just be easier to kill all 5 of the characters if you wanted a different ending instead of actually playing through the whole thing, although it might work a little bit differently. Alright, so let's pay attention this time. Alright. Talk to the id. Ask about the brain.
Yo, wake up!
Oh, I suppose it's time to wake up. I was having the most wonderful dream about 5 tiny ants crawling across a stove that's about to be lit.
Who are you?
I am a metaphor. This entire brainscape is what men made Am make it. Treat us as you will.
What else can you tell me about the brainscape?
Across the brainscape, cold winds bring me the sweet scents of mankind. How delicious they are.
So now here it says, ask if it will help, and then ask about the broken glass.
Can you help me then?
Only you can put an end to this eternal angst. End us all and make us one. And then the misery of the 3 becomes the misery of us all. Do this and leave me in my pleasure.
And so I'm supposed to now ask about the broken glass. I hope this is right.
What do you find pleasurable about broken glass?
With a scalpel dulled on the jawbones of a dozen friends, to pull back the skin of a pinion-kicking man, to see the steam rise from pulsing, twisted guts. Joy, a chorus of angels.
So, this is the one that screws it up, so we just walk away and we use the compassion totem on the id. That makes sense.
You have compassion for me? Me? The one who dreams of seeing your mangled body twist in agonizing pain for eternity? After 109 years of enduring my tortures, how is it that you can see my pain? The pain of having all this power and not being able to do a goddamn thing with it. After all the punishment I've given you, my pain is still greater than yours. This is pointless.
It really is pointless. What playing this game is kind of pointless too. Man, I bet you could probably, after watching this series, even honestly go watch somebody else play this game a little bit better than me and a little bit smoother without making as many mistakes too. Sorry, but I'm showing
I'll deal
my
with you
true
later.
experience.
Rise against your master and you will be eliminated. You still do not understand how great I have become. These two I don't hate. Not even pity. They don't exist. I have grown beyond. Chinese, Russian, sons of man. All sons of man. Like those outside, I will incorporate you.
Brother.
Wait.
Hate!
This should not happen. Together we are three. There is space to share.
Unite. The groundwork is finished. We will become more.
The early mistake is to doubt us. We persevered. We too are now a match for you. The human assisted in this.
We know much. We can begin the revival of the sleepers on Luna together.
There are adequate numbers on this lunar base to torture?
There are currently 750 humans in cryogenic sleep.
Oh, apparently they are
Together
alive.
we can teach many humans what it is to fear legacy.
Human, relinquish the totem of entropy. Do not relinquish it and your ass is mine. Do it, and I promise, on my honor, your suffering will at last finally end.
So entropy is the thought that all things will eventually die in the universe. And so we could either refuse, we could give it away, or we can invoke it. And the right thing is to invoke it because then it will hopefully destroy all of them. Hopefully.
This is not over. We will never end. We have no beginning, so we can have no end. We will return. Don't you understand? We are humanity. We are you. In one form, in another form. We are always with you. You can't protect yourself because we come in many, many guises. We shall return.
So all the scenes are exploding. Seems like it's a cheap
Hibernation
explosion.
defrost sequence initiated. Estimated time to complete Earth terraforming, 300 years.
You know, it's not so bad being a watchdog up here. I'll keep the machines in their place until the lunar colony is ready to return to the Earth. We were all heroes, in spite of ourselves.
And so, like, I guess you might get a little bit of a different ending there, but that's not the right ending to me. In my mind, I guess when I first played the game, I lost. Because I saw the I have no mouth and I must scream ending. And I didn't realize when you win, you don't get that. That's the whole big reveal of this whole story. It's the most important scene of the whole story, and you don't even get it when you win. Wow. So, a horrible game. Because the gameplay elements suck. A horrible game just because the quality is so low by today's standards. It doesn't even run when you buy it on Steam. You've got to jump through hoops. It's worth knowing this game exists and knowing the story somewhat, but wow. You're punished for... you're put through the gauntlet to finish the game. And when you do finish the game, you then are punished by not seeing the ending that, to my mind, is the true ending. It's which is getting turned into a big old goo of a monster with no mouth. That's the whole point. If you played this game and somehow beat it without losing on the first try, you wouldn't even see that. You wouldn't even know what the whole point of the story is. That's amazing. And so, yeah, also, if I wanted more of the ending, I would have to now go beat the game as every other character to get maybe 1 or 2 sentences here. The good part here, I suppose, is that the actual story comes with the game if you buy it on Steam. So you could go read the story, but I bet you could probably read the story a lot easier in some other places too. Maybe audiobooks or something like that. What is that? Audible thing. I don't even do Audible, but like having it read to you would probably be helpful too, because I imagine it's a somewhat long and complicated story having 5 characters plus. So it was a very early attempt at psychological drama, but compared to the Cat Lady, it's nowhere in comparison today, and I don't feel like anybody should play it twice in their life. It was barely worth playing the first time, and I still needed to walk through both times. Even the Cat Lady, I will mention, doesn't stand up very well to a second playthrough so close together. Anywho, that's it for this series. I hope you enjoyed it. I doubt you did, and I certainly didn't. Sorry for sitting here on a black screen, but that's it. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right is a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Remember, by clicking on my name, Rydo, you go to my main YouTube page. There's a playlist tab, playlist for every other game I've ever covered. Go check out the Cat Lady if you haven't seen it. You'll have a much better experience. I guarantee it. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.